Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's time for your Saturday night delight. Geek-span is back, and unfortunately, Skipitosh isn't with me. Hopefully, he'll be back next week, but I do have a ringer this week to talk about all the geek culture news. How you doing, Doc?
I'm good. Yourself, Wes?
I'm doing pretty okay. We got a lot of DC Comics related information, although we got a little bit of Disney in here as well. So, you ready for this?
Yeah, it seems to be a very DC-centric week, so let's get at it.
All right, Joel Schumacher, who directed several blockbuster films, including Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, passed away this week at the age of 80. But how are you going to remember the Hollywood legend?
I'm going to remember him for Bat Nipples, Neon Batman, but at the same time, I'm also going to remember him from, I think he did Falling Down, too.
Absolutely, he did.
And that movie really kind of, it impacted like 10 or 12-year-old Doc. But yeah, I'm gonna remember his amplifying everything that was much more subtle in the Burton Batman movies and making it a little too cheese-tastic. When he took over the Bat franchise, and he kind of killed it.
Yeah. Well, that did happen, but that wasn't completely his fault. There was a mandate. He was brought in specifically because they thought Tim Burton's Batman was too dark to sell toys, and they brought him in with the directive that you need to lighten things up, and kids need to be attracted to these things. So he went with a new aesthetic. And I do think he gets dogged a little bit too much for that. He was simply following orders from Warner Brothers, who had given him the mandate. And I think he did the best that he could with what he was given. Did he go a little too over the top? I imagine that he did. But, me personally, I'm going to probably remember mostly for The Lost Boys, which is a fantastic film from my youth. And I remember the Frog Brothers and that just being a terrifying movie. It was very much of its time. If you want to know about like the 90s culture and things like that, that's all in there, but you also get a nice, good helping of a traditional monster movie in there as well. And I just think The Lost Boys is one of those movies that should be appreciated more.
I think you're right. My the girlfriend loves that movie, and you know what? I never truly appreciated it when I was younger, but I think I've grown to really appreciate The Lost Boys a lot more than I did. I was always a little taken aback by I was never much of a Billy Idol aesthetic fan.
Kiefer Sutherland, yeah.
Yeah, and that Billy Idol aesthetic that Kiefer had in that kind of bugged me at the time, but now I appreciate it. So yeah, no, but yeah, I think he does. You know what? Even for me, I mean, you did make a good point about the studio, forcing him into something, and I wasn't really aware of that, and I kind of put the blame on him. Where I guess you're right. He was just following studio orders and doing his job, and I think he managed it pretty well. There was a couple of things, shiny suits and bat nipples were a little too far though.
I agree.
So, Wes, due to the rising number of cases of coronavirus, Disney will not actually be reopening their Disneyland resort in Anaheim. Is Disney making the right choice here?
Well, I don't think they really have a choice. I think this will be, mandated by the local governance there. There's certainly rising cases, and sounds like California is having another look about opening things up. And if they can only have so many people in the park anyway, it might not be cost effective for them. So, it sounds like Disney World down in Florida is still going to open up as planned. Florida is sounds like they're more open, even though they have rising cases as well. But California is taking a little bit of a different approach to coronavirus and the spikes in these cases. So. I don't think they have much of a choice. They got to take the temperature of the state and to see the way see how things are going on locally. And I don't know if they have a choice. So unfortunately, they won't be opening up, but they definitely, you don't want to be packing that many people in and being too dangerous in a situation like that. So they're probably doing the right thing. Although I don't think that they really have much of a say in it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not really much of their call. California is being, their usual a littly overcautious self. And I think that it's just kind of doing what they got to do. My personal thoughts on this are that, I think that there is a way to open, but I don't think they're just going to have a choice. I think California is going to end up going back into a shutdown more than likely. And they're just going to do what they got to do but whereas Florida is just going to say, well, come on, it's Florida. There's a reason why Florida
two different approaches to the issue. Absolutely.
Yep. The Florida man meme will always rear its head.
All right. Details are starting to emerge regarding the long anticipated Justice League Snyder cut. An HBO Max exec recently revealed the film will be available to stream in early to mid 2021. Is that enough time for Zack Snyder to deliver his ultimate version for Justice League?
I'm leaning towards no. I don't think that that's enough time. I mean, we're already halfway through 2020, and I don't think anything Hollywood-wise has really started reopening very much. Okay, maybe Zach can do a lot of it just kind of by himself in an editing suite somewhere. But at the same time, sending out the parts that are going to need to be, have all the CGI and the effects and everything, they do that with teams. It's not just one dude. So unless they're all able to work remotely, and now I don't know enough about, Hollywood post-production to know whether or not, a 20, 30, 50 person, effects team can just all work remotely, or if they got to do it while they're looking over each other's shoulders. But especially with California still being semi shut down, this is, sometimes it can take upwards of a year to do post-production, and you're trying to Frankenstein a movie together. That's going to be interesting, or un-Frankenstein it back to the original vision. However you want to look at this, whatever I don't know. But yeah,
I think you're right here. It feels like they're going to be cutting it close. Like I've heard, aren't they supposed to be adding dark side to this movie? I never saw that character in the version that was released. How much of that did they even film? Is this being added in as Zack Snyder was like, you know what? Probably should have had dark side in this movie since we hinted at it in Batman versus Superman. So I don't understand how they're going to have enough time. It definitely feels like 2021 is going to be way too early. Maybe the effects just won't be like movie screen ready. Maybe it'll be like made for sci-fi TV effects.
Yeah, and the other thing is they still got to do I know that they were going to do a bunch of reshooting with most of the cast. So you got to get Affleck, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller,
Henry
Cavill, all back. Yeah, all of them back onto sets. And I don't know if you're going to be able to really film with them separately. So you're going to be doing very bare bones shooting when it comes to all the normal production staff. That's going to be hard.
Does not feel like they're giving themselves enough room to deliver a quality product, but this isn't going to the big screen. It's just going on the streaming service. And if people really want to see it, maybe they don't want a pristine finished product. They'll just kind of take something that looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's probably right. So, Wes, in Batman 93, Selena Kyle is played for a fool and steals $100 billion from Bruce Wayne and ostensibly gives it to the Joker. Presumably, this is going to fund his war on Gotham in the upcoming Joker War story. Does this finally give Joker the upper hand against his longtime Bat nemesis?
Well, it certainly can't hurt. Yeah, $100 billion. That's a lot of cheddar. You can buy some wonderful toys with that much money. And the Joker seems to be much more in control of himself right now. He's not very chaotic. There's not a lot of anarchy in his plan. It seems to be well thought out, well constructed, and well executed. So this seems to be a more formidable Joker just to begin with. Obviously, we got Punchline coming in there. She's kind of taking characters out left and right. And all that money, what can he do with it? Is he also going to be able to steal all of Batman's stuff? Presumably he's going to have Bruce Wayne isn't going to have access to all of his stuff except for his house. It sounded like that was his, but all the other stuff that's Bruce Wayne Enterprises or Wayne Enterprises, I don't think he's going to have access to that. So maybe Joker gets his hands on some Batmobiles and other gadgets that Bruce has been using for years. So this could be very troubling for the Dark Knight, in my opinion. So I think this is actually pretty fun. Obviously, we've seen scenarios play out in movies and comics before where Batman or Bruce Wayne loses his money. Obviously, it played out in The Dark Knight Rises. It just played out in Sean Gordon Murphy's Curse of the White Knight, at least at the end. So not an exactly original idea, but giving all of his money to Joker, I think this is original. I don't know if that one's happened before. So I don't know. What would the Joker do with $100 billion? It can't be good. It feels like Gotham is definitely in jeopardy here. And I think that's one of the reasons that James Tynion's done a good job and people are kind of excited about Batman. I'm not enjoying it quite as much as everybody, but I'm certainly anticipating Joker War. And what the hell is Joker going to do with all that cheddar?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Batman's only real superpower is he's rich. And now, well, yes, he's a great detective, but his main superpower is that he's rich. He's ungodly rich. And not only did he lose, it's not just him being depowered, but it's his biggest enemy stealing his powers. It kind of gives me a Emperor Joker vibe. Like a little bit kind of reminder of Emperor Joker, except for I want to know exactly how he's going to play this. Because, is he just going to out how all of Bruce's money was, hidden in shell corporations? Is he just going to set it on fire? I mean, I can't see anybody seriously, like, I don't think the Joker walking into a boardroom, anybody's going to actually still follow his directions any more than they would have whenever he would be threatening to blow up the building if they didn't follow his directions. So I want to know how he's going to, is he just going to destroy Bruce's wealth, or is he going to,
I think he's going to war with him with his own money.
Yeah. I'm very curious. This is going to be interesting because at the bare minimum, Bruce just doesn't have his powers anymore.
Yep, it's all his wits and probably his Bat family from here on out. So hopefully, and we know he doesn't have Dick Grayson because he's with Joker now.
Yes,
he's been manipulated. So the pieces are in place. I think Tynion's done a good job setting up the chessboard for a fun story arc, and I'll definitely be tuning into that one.
Yeah, I think I will too. It's the first time I've probably really wanted to in a while.
All right, we're going to stick with a little Bat news here. Michael Keaton is in talks to reprise his iconic Batman role in the upcoming Flash movie based on the classic Flashpoint story. What other classic DC stories would you like to see Keaton don the cape and cowl again for?
Oh, without a doubt, Batman Beyond. I mean, that one just basically writes itself. Come on. Like, that's perfect. Keaton's almost at the right age, if not, and they can age him up just a little bit more if they need to. But he's definitely beyond the actually wearing the costume age. He's definitely at the retirement age and, give him a limp and a cane and a dog, and he's Bruce from Batman Beyond. Come on, that's perfect.
All right. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of this writer, but I do like the story. I think I want to see some Kingdom Come with Michael Keaton as the older Batman that's kind of in the mech suit because his body doesn't work anymore. I think that would be great. And Kingdom Come is a classic Batman story, even if Mark Waid himself is a shithead. So I kind of think that would be a good story. Obviously, you'd have to find a new Superman. Unfortunately, the original Superman is no longer with us. Unfortunately, so it would take some good casting, but I would love to see Keaton in that story, man. Bring Kingdom Come to the big screen. I think that thing would sell a lot of donuts. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people would go to the theater to see a classic, future take Elseworld story about the Justice League, in the future, centered around Superman, of course.
Well, the way that they added, some gray to Brandon Routh's hair and kind of got him looking jacked for that DC Arrowverse, the CW Crisis. I could see Brandon Routh playing that older Superman. He's got the he kind of had the look for it. Especially since, older Superman still doesn't look.
He shouldn't age like a human.
No, he doesn't, and he's not supposed to look old. He's just supposed to be older. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Wolverine in Days of Future Past, with just a little bit of gray in his temples. So yeah, I could see Kingdom Come working.
Oh yeah, but I just want to see Michael Keaton in the bat suit again, man. I thought he was a great Batman. Certainly a little bit different take than Ben Affleck and everything, but he was definitely the best Bruce Wayne, that's for certain. And I thought he was a good Batman too.
Yeah, you sure you don't want to see fat Val Kilmer trying to rock the bat suit at this age?
No, I'm just looking forward to Top Gun, man.
All right,
man.
Yes, sir. So, last question, Wes. Warner Brothers are hosting a 24-hour virtual convention for all things DC related. The upcoming the event features announcements from the worlds of DC Comics, the DC Extended Universe films, the Arrowverse, DC Universe streaming, online service, and WB Games. What announcements are you hoping to hear?
All right, so if I had a list, I want a Nightwing movie where he's the feature thing, and I think that would be great. There's some other stuff I would love. I would certainly love a new Green Lantern movie. I don't think we're getting that one. But the one thing I want, and I want this more than anything, is I want there not to be an announcement that Zack Snyder is coming back to the DC Extended Universe. Please just let him do a Snyder Cut for HBO Max and not come back, because if he comes back, the DC Extended Universe just got right. We finally have some good movies. I would say Shazam's the best one of them. I think Wonder Woman's still pretty good. Not as big a fan as Aquaman as everyone else, but that's fine. But we're finally getting actually a string of good DC Comics movies out there, and I think now that they've acquiesced to the mob and they're bringing Zack Snyder back, they might acquiesce fully and just bring him back on board and let him be the architect again. Please don't do that, DC Comics. Please don't do that, Warner Brothers. That would be awful. He was ruining the entire franchise. He was definitely the ingredient that was not working in that mixture. So do not bring Zack Snyder back, please.
Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you there. Zach did his thing. I was not really the biggest fan of his vision for the DC Extended Universe. But I am curious to see a Snyder cut of Justice League, because I did not like Justice League. So maybe it'll get better, but maybe it just turns it into Batman versus Superman 2. But so no, the announcement that I would really, really like to see is not only the release, like the launch for the Superman and Lois CW show that's been rumored and talked about. I don't know if they've really made a definite decision.
They have.
Okay. And I would like to see a Batman CW show to go along with Flash, because let's be honest, the Batwoman show has had terrible ratings. It's basically a mess. Supergirl didn't take the lead of the CW series like they expected it to. Flash is still the with Arrow gone, Flash is the number one show, basically followed by Legends of Tomorrow, and nobody really cares about the other ones. Stargirl's okay, but not really great. I think that they really need to recenter the CW shows with a more back to basics approach, and I think a Batman show for CW would do that. It would fill the slot that Arrow lost.
See, I think they should embrace their audience and actually bring in characters and teams that fit the CW network. So they should bring in the Teen Titans, Young Justice, and kick out all the classic heroes because they don't fit the audience. They end up dumbing them down and making them all like teenage, like angsty losers. But that's just my take.
Well, you're not entirely wrong there, especially with the Justice Society that they're building on the Stargirl show. So yeah, I think you actually might be right. Yeah, a Teen Titans show, or a Young Justice show would, you know what? Honestly, even a Legion show, Legion of Superheroes for CW would work. I think
that
beyond, yes, it would, but you could do it with a slimmed down line the way that they did, Legends. Mm-hmm. So, I think beyond that, though, I would really like to see them make an announcement regarding DC Comics and what they're going, where they're going after Death Metal. Is 5G still the future? Is Generation Zero still going to even come out? I want to see how they're going to do their free comic book day with Lunar and UCS involved, but I'm really curious, and I kind of want them to make an announcement on whether or not Tinian is going to be the guy that keeps going on Batman for a little bit longer, or if the rumors are true and we are getting Bendis.
We shall see. Thank you very much for joining me today, Doc. I think everyone got their Geek Culture 411, and I really appreciate the time, buddy.
Anytime, brother.